Alright, before I get into the video, I want to say a few things. Thank you viewer for taking the time to look at my video, it means a lot. Also make sure to subscribe if you are new here. I don't work at Subway yet. So as some who was laid off in March, I enjoyed my last 4 months of work-free life, but at least I need a job now. My state went into a green stage, meaning that many businesses are open now and hiring. I applied to as many as I could as a 17-year-old and landed an interview today at Subway. I went in around what little lunch rush they had and got pulled into the office for the interview. The way to get into the office was at the opposite end of the sandwich bar area, where there was a little flap door. A kinda sucky setup. I was walking towards it when a woman very angrily huffed at the side of me. I came out from behind the sandwich bar and looked at her. "Can I help you with something?" Yes you can. I've been waiting here for 20 minutes. Not true. The person working just went into the back to restock some of the sandwich fillings. I heard her say, "Give me just a moment please, I'll be right with you." "Oh, I'm sorry ma'am, I don't work here." Yes you do. You came out from behind the sandwich bar. I saw you walk in there too. Only employees are allowed back there. You're absolutely right, but I hopefully will be allowed back there by my own will sometime soon. Look, I don't care if you just got off your shift or something. Make me a sandwich. Now, I've worked as a line cook before, and while I never talked with customers much, I did have at least some experience with that award-winning top-notch employee twinkle in my eyes, no smile cause of all the masks. I apologize for the inconvenience ma'am. I'll get someone to make your sandwich. No. Make it for me now. At this point I'm done with her BS, but if the manager comes out at any second and sees me bad-mouthing a customer, then I'm in trouble. Thank the good heavens above though, because the employee had come out now with extra sandwich fillings and started talking to the lady. I apologized to them both for the inconvenience and left while the employee was making her sandwich. Hopefully I was patient enough, or just all around nice, as how I described myself in the interview to the manager who might have been watching the cameras. I was promised a call on if I get the job or not on Wednesday, so I'll update with the news after the call. Apparently putting things back means I work there. This happened last year. I was at a bookstore browsing through some manga and just being really indecisive while taking out books and putting them back when I changed my mind. This teenager came from one end of the section and asked me where one manga is. I had no idea, but I decided to try to be helpful and looked up and down the shelves, spotted the title and pointed it out. He grabbed one and left without even saying thanks. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now realize I must have looked like an employee organizing the books. I laugh when I think about it now, and it wasn't a bad encounter or anything, but it is the first time I might have been mistaken for an employee. IDWH while shopping today. Had one of my first I don't work here moments today. Wife and I were at small town Dollar General. We just got off work as medical students. We are both wearing black slacks. She's wearing a blouse and no mask, I'm wearing a button-down and a gator mask. We stop in the freezer aisle, pick out some ice cream, start walking again down the aisle while talking. The guy comes up behind us in the freezer section, and says, "Hey, since y'all are here, do you have those things you freeze and give to kids?" I'm kinda taken back, about to say, "You mean like freeze pops?" My wife speaks up, "Oh, sorry. We don't work here." The guy was really nice and chill. "Sorry, I thought you were checking the store or something." I thought it was hilarious and checked the workers there. Apparently store uniform is not super regulated, but includes a black t-shirt and gray pants, along with mask. Certainly not in line with what either of us were wearing. A very bad day became a bit better when I barred him from the store. Ye had a bad morning, which was lifted a little by having some fun with a horrible customer. I went to a funeral this morning. It was sad in so many ways. Sad because he was a good friend. Sad because it was a suicide. Sad because only 10 people could attend, COVID-19. Sad because I couldn't comfort the family afterwards. I decided to go straight to the store after the service, so I was in my best suit looking a bit smarter than normal. It's a well-known UK supermarket based in Yorkshire. I'll call it Morrison's, which sounds nothing like its real name. I had only got 10 yards into the store when I heard an angry voice. I went towards the noise. The customer was on the BWS aisle next to a flavor gin display and leaning into the face of a staff member. Loudmouth customer LMC, well, it's on your website, so why isn't it on the fucking shelf? Stress staff member, the website is for online purchases, it doesn't mean it will be in stock at every store. LMC aggressively, well, it should fucking say that on the website. SSM meekly, I think you'll find it does, sir. LMC looks at the name badge, well, Kevin, a horrible mocking tone when he stressed the name, you had better use those poofy little arms that can't stand to be touched and drag your gay little cart into the back and fucking find one for me. The cart contained bottle lock security devices, so Kevin was obviously applying the security tags to the gin bottles. SSM Kevin, I know we don't because I've already checked for a lady earlier. LMC impatiently, you're fucking idiots. How do you stay in fucking business? This is the point where I walked up to the customer. Me politely, you're obviously having a problem, let me try to help. Come with me, sir, and we'll try to get something sorted out for you. I turned to Kevin and pointed to LMC's trolley, shopping cart for Americans, and I said, just leave this trolley here. We'll be back in a few minutes. The trolley was about a third full of food, etc. Kevin just stared at me and said okay. I turned back to LMC and said, okay sir, you come with me and tell me what would make you happy. You don't have any valuables in the trolley, do you? LMC, no. Just a few things I needed. I only really came in for the gin that was on offer. I walk towards the door and LMC walks alongside me. Me, obviously the item you wanted isn't in stock. Instead of that, what would make you happy? LMC, I don't know. A free bottle of Tanqueray gin? You know, for all the stress and inconvenience. Tanqueray is on the expensive end for supermarket stock. We approach the door. Me, let me see what I can do. We have to go out of the store and back in through the side entrance. There is a strange one-way system because of COVID-19. Just follow me. He followed me out of the store, past the customer channel set up for social distancing. He was grumbling all the way. LMC moaning, maybe one bottle isn't enough. I had to deal with that spindly idiot shelf stacker back there. It took me ages just to get him to understand which gin I was after. We were about 35 yards from the entrance when I stopped him. Let me stop you here. Let me explain the situation. You won't be receiving any compensation. The only reason I've walked with you this far out of the store is because you were using foul language in the store where there are children. You were abusive and homophobic to a staff member. There is a zero-tolerance policy for any abuse, homophobia, or racism. Listen carefully, you are banned from the store, for life. The comments you made to Kevin are hate speech. That is a criminal offense. If I wasn't so short of time, I would call the police. Instead, I am banning you. I don't want you to ever visit the store again. If I see you attempting to return to the store, I will call the police and a formal complaint will be made about your behavior and speech. I will be happy to provide a statement, I'm sure Kevin will too. I pointed to the security guards at the entrance. You see that man and woman on the door? I'm now going to talk to them. I will suggest to them that if you even start to approach the door, they should call the police immediately. I wasn't going to report your homophobic hate speech, but I will if you don't leave the premises immediately without any trouble. LMC, I didn't do any hate speech. Poofy little arms, gay little trolley, that counts as hate speech. I'm also guessing that the camera will show you grabbing or touching Kevin. That is an offense even when we don't have the social distancing laws. LMC, I was just getting his attention. Me, I'm not prepared to discuss it any further. The sensible thing for you to do would be to leave and think you're lucky that you're not in the police station. If you want me to make a formal criminal complaint, then by all means I will. Please write to Morrison's head office at Bradford. My name is Mr. Grumpy Old FCKR. If you can't remember that, just ask them to speak to the store general manager. Make sure you give your full name and address on the letter so you can be identified. I strongly suggest you don't keep abusing shop staff. It's not tolerated anymore. Goodbye. I walked back to the security staff. I said, "That man over there," pointed at him as he crossed the car park, "was abusing one of the staff. He's leaving, but you might want to be careful if he comes back." Security guard: "Okay, thank you." I didn't go back in. I stood at the door near the guards and watched LMC drive away. Then I went to my car and drove off. I bought the tea bags and milk that I needed at another supermarket. I didn't want to go back into Morrison's in case LMC came back and they realized I don't work there. Or anywhere. I've never worked there. Retirement has turned me into a mischievous little bastard. P.S. Quite a few people asking if I was in retail. No, my late wife was a manager for a national chain. I was Royal Marines, then FCO, then property development. Then into my current role, which is nightmare old man who has realized his age means he can say or do almost anything to the dickheads of the world. I fired a guy who didn't work for me. So here's a different one for you. I'm a locomotive engineer/conductor. One time I was called on a work train as opposed to a through freight. Through is just bring a train from point A to point B, one city to another kinda thing. A work train is a train where you work with a foreman and a crew to fix track, lay new track, or even just clean ditches. As a conductor of these trains, my only job is to tell the engineer what to do and when, while supervising anyone that may be working around my train. Most often the guys working near my train are contractors and don't have any affiliation with the railroad I work for. This one guy kept getting into some stupid situations where he was underneath the moving train trying to move rocks by hand. Now to me, and I would hope most of you, common sense would dictate that you don't want to be underneath a moving train. Even if it is moving at 0.5 miles an hour. This guy wasn't very bright, to say the least. After 4 or 10 times of telling this fool to back off, I finally looked at him and told him to go home. "You're fired." So he packed up and left. About 4 hours later his actual supervisor shows up and asks where he went. I told him I didn't know. All his other employees burst out laughing and ratted me right out. The conductor fired him. So I think I'm in trouble, so I try to explain why I didn't want him near my train, and the guy stops me and thanks me. He had been trying to fire him for some time and just needed a good excuse. Make sure to like, share, subscribe if you haven't done yet. Thanks for watching.